I'm Rock Abatko from MASNsports.com, School of Rock, with Orioles manager Buck Showalter on our first edition of Buck's blog for 2015. Buck, we're only a little more than a week into the season here, but what are some of your early observations and impressions of the club, what you've seen?
I don't know, Rock. It's if we pitch well, we've got a better chance to win. It falls underneath the captain obvious, but you're always kind of feeling around early in the season. Kind of every club has a little bit of a different identity, and there's going to be some bumpy parts of the journey. But you try to keep the end game in mind. Why sometimes people are in a constant state of panic, and I understand that when you're doing something important. I mean, heck, I have my moments. We all do, and so you're just looking for things that you can trust, and the players are kind of feeling their way around a little bit, and it'll all get settled in a little bit as we go, especially with some of our injuries that we're trying to work through, as all clubs are, and some things that I'm glad we did from a depth standpoint that's allowed us to continue to put a competitive front out there. But some good things are happening in our minor leagues. Some things that we thought felt good about coming out of spring training that have started the seasons down in Bowie and Norfolk and Frederick and Delmarva. So that's something that makes me feel good about it as we go forward. But so far so good. Could be better, could be worse.
You got David Lowe off the DL. Other guys going to be trickling off it as well, hopefully J.J. Hardy soon. What kind of challenge does that present to make room on the roster for these guys? I know it's a pleasant problem, but it still sounds like a problem.
That's a good problem. I don't look at it as a problem. It means that we haven't had this problem in the past, 2 or 3, 4 years ago, that we have good players coming through. Jimmy Paredes won't be too long. He had a big spring for us and did some good things for us last year. And Matt will be here before you know it, hopefully. And it presents some challenges to keep everybody, but it's good for the players, and in the meantime it covers us. Something happens in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be able to cover ourselves. But I'd rather deal with making room for JJ and Matt and a lesser case Jimmy than worrying about who's going to play.
Speaking of challenges, carrying a Rule 5 pick in your bullpen, Jason Garcia, what kind of challenge does that present? I know you guys have been able to do that with a few guys, McFarland, Flaherty, but what about with Jason?
Well, this is a little different dynamic because this is a guy from experience level, and A-ball basically, even though his stuff, they would have pitched him in Double-A if they weren't trying to keep him from getting drafted. Because, you've got a closer and you've got the other 5 guys, so I'm not going to put them in harm's way. And it's been a challenge a little bit. We still don't know completely what we got. Maybe 2 months from now it'll be a non-issue. But we're trying to pick our spots a little bit. The other night we had a 6-4 deficit, and I was going to bring him in. It's been a good spot. But once we went to 6-5, we had to push the envelope a little bit and stay in that game. But maybe he can pitch that inning. There's only one way to find out. It's who we are. You don't see the Yankees and Red Sox and Dodgers taking Rule 5 guys. But that's how we got McFarland and Flaherty, and it might be Garcia. And but it's a great way to acquire quality players potentially if you're willing to walk the walk a little bit and know who you are and try to. Because Jason down the line's got a chance to be pretty good. It's just whether we can get through the American League East, carrying an unknown for a certain period of time until we know what we have.
One of the bigger stories of spring training, Ubaldo Jimenez, how effective he was throwing strikes, the adjustment he made in his delivery. Not to jinx him, of course.
Well, you just did.
I just did. I know. I was waiting for you to knock on wood here. But your impressions of what you saw from him, and how much credit does Ramon Martinez get? He looks like he's been a pretty good late signing.
Well, Ramon and Dave Wallace and Dom Chidi, that's who they are. They always deflect the praise to the player. And Ubaldo came in here. He had a great offseason, very connected, engaged, came in with a real purpose. Not that he didn't last year, but I want to remind some people about, so it was a good start for him. That's one reason I didn't want to skip him in the rotation, make sure we got him out there. There'll be some challenges down there, and there'll be some bumps, but, Ramon has been a great sounding board for him without being his personal pitching coach. Ramon's here for everybody. He's going to help us a lot in Latin America, but it's not just with the Latin players. You see, he's a guy that guys really migrate to very easily. He's got a nice way about him, but a toughness. And if you're looking for someone to tell you what you want to hear, you're going to the wrong guy with Ramon, very much like Wally and Dom.
Rock Abatko, Orioles manager Buck Showalter, thanks for watching.